Yeah, the title of my presentation is Using MedCor in the English Classroom and an aligned parallel corpus of fictional medical language in English and Spanish, as it was said in the introduction. Well, this is the order that I'm going to follow, the structure. First of all, I'm going to tell you who we are and what we are doing. And at this point, I will be talking about aligned parallel corpora. So in the next stage, in the next bullet, I will explain what we understand with aligned parallel corpus. And then finally, I will mention how this corpus can be applied to the English classroom. So that's an innovative teaching project that we are currently carrying out here. Right, so let's start. Who are we and what are we doing? Right, well, we are the research group Communicative and Intercultural Skills in Foreign Languages, in foreign language from the University of Valladolid. And these are the features that characterize us. So we are an interdisciplinary group because we belong to different branches, mainly didactics, philology, and translation. We are multilingual because we work with English, French, German, and Romanian, basically. And we are interested in communicative skills, intercultural skills, and the teaching methods to improve them. We also organize educative interventions in order to assess the impact of different materials and methods. And as any research group, we try to meet regularly in order to be up to date. And we organize workshops for students mainly as well, in order to make them aware about the relevance of these communicative and intercultural skills. Right, our research lines are the ones that you can see on the screen. So we are interested in communicative skills, intercultural skills, also in contrastive studies. So we work with corpus linguistics. We are interested in translation and interpreting issues as well. Of course, about the acquisition of foreign languages and bilingualism and different methods and methodologies that can be used in the classroom in order to learn and to improve foreign languages. And well, all in all, we are interested in the speech analysis in foreign languages. Right, so what are we doing? Well, we are creating MedCor. We are compiling MedCor. MedCor is a research project, and I'm going to tell you, well, just the basics of the project. MedCor is an aligned parallel corpus in English and Spanish. I will define later, I will explain what an aligned parallel corpus is, but well, basically it's a corpus in English and Spanish. And the contents of the corpus, well, it's medical fiction TV programs. So medical languages. They are TV programs related to medicine. More precisely, we've already compiled Doctor House. We are in the middle of Grey's Anatomy, and the next step will be to compile ER. I mean, all the seasons of these TV programs. It is an annotated corpus, and that's the current stage on what we are nowadays. There are two different annotations that we are carrying out. First of all, an automated annotation, which is easily done by Sketch Engine, and well, it was manually reviewed. And then we are carrying out a documental annotation. And here we take into account all the bibliographical information for each episode and also the type of speaker. So if it's specialized content, that means speech among specialists, or if it's just a more general conversation, that's a speech with patients or among patients. Right. We would like to have it to make it open access in the future. And well, it's expected to be quite big because we expect to have like 2 million words. Right, so the main aim of the project is to create a sentence-aligned multilingual tool of the fictional medical language that allows different types of searches. For instance, to observe the translation of a certain word or string, also to get the context of a word in one or in two different languages, Also to observe the cognitive and translation strategies used. And we also want that it is possible to export the corpus so that it can be imported to different formats. For instance, to be imported into a translation memory or to be imported in order to enlarge multilingual medical software. And of course, this tool might also have didactic purposes. Right, so we count on external collaborators, and also some companies have shown interest in the project. It might be interesting for translation companies because, as I've just said, they can import our database into their translation memories and get like a very big translation memory of the medical field. And it's also interesting for medical software developers because, as I mentioned before, again, they can import it into their system and have like a very big database. Also, hospitals and the Ministry of Health can use it as a large database. Right now, what is an aligned parallel corpus? Because I've been talking about corpora, parallel corpora, and alignment and so on, but what is it? What's a corpus? Well, in 2002, Bocas defined a corpus as a collection of texts or utterances that is used as a basis for conducting some type of linguistic investigation. And that's the way in which we understand the word corpus. There are different types of corpora, depending on the criterion that we use. But now I'm referring to a very specific type, which is parallel corpora. Right, but what are parallel corpora? Well, it's important to clarify what we understand with parallel corpora because this label is not so clear. So parallel corpora are exclusively those corpora that contain a group of source texts with their matching translations. So the important thing here is that we have a source text and the matching translation, the translation of that source text. Right, why do I say that it's important to clarify the label? Well, because contrastive linguistics and translation studies in the past didn't follow the same path. They followed different paths. And scholars from one discipline did not read or keep updated about the developments that happened in the other branch. That created very big inconsistencies, mainly in terminology. And now they've come to closer positions. But nowadays, it's important to clarify what we understand with each label of when we refer to a type of corpus. Because in fact, what is understood as parallel corpora in translation studies matches what is called translation corpora in contrastive linguistics. Right, so the position that our corpus would occupy in a general classification of corpora is here. So that our corpus is a written corpus because it's based on subtitles. It's a reference corpus, diachronic, since it's not restricted to a particular period of time, monitor, because it has supervision, and it's made of full texts which are published and they are specialized because, as I said before, they belong to the medical field. Right, that would be the first part of classification. If we move to the second part and we begin where we stopped, right, so specialized corpora, we can say that our corpus is here. It's a multilingual corpus because it's English, Spanish. It's parallel in the understanding the word parallel in the way that I explained before. That means source texts and their translations. Unidirectional from English into Spanish, and aligned. That means that we have a source string, a source segment, and then we get the matching translation. So the corpus might look something like this, right? So we have the source strings, the source sentences on the left side, and then we put the matching translation on the right side, which is manually reviewed, as I said before. All right. Now, how can it be applied to the English classroom? How can we, how are we applying this corpus to the classroom? And that's the innovative teaching project that we are carrying out. Right, so we propose this teaching project, which is based on two pillars: subtitling and using the parallel corpus, right? So the combination of both. And why did we get with this idea of this project? Well, it rests on three justifications: the benefits of audiovisual material, the benefits of translation as a didactic tool, and the benefits of corpora as didactic tools again. So I'm going to refer to each of them very briefly, but according to previous studies, audiovisual material has proven to be a very good didactic resource because students work with authentic cultural products. This material shows the cultural reality of the country in which it is developed. It offers real examples of native speakers, different dialects, language varieties, and so on. It presents different communicative situations. It shows verbal language and cultural conventions in the source country. It favors intercultural learning and reflection, and it allows to have an own linguistic awareness. It promotes the intercultural competence and changes of perspective, and it increases significantly students' motivation, according to what other authors said and, well, tested. Right, regarding translation as a didactic tool, it has been proven that translation promotes multilingual and intercultural competences, that it promotes learning strategies to improve fluency, vocabulary, understanding, grammar, so different aspects. It also makes students reflect on the different linguistic registers and tones. It helps to look for solutions for specific lexical problems or technicalities, and it increases interaction and communication strategies as well. It helps in the acquisition of discursive, strategic, and social linguistic competences. And finally, it makes students reflect linguistically and be aware of the multilingual reality that surrounds us. And that matches the necessity fostered by the European Union of that integral linguistic training. Right, and finally, corpora have also proven to be a good didactic tool because they've proved to be effective in foreign language learning. They are of great interest for translation studies because they can have different applications, such as to detect different translation strategies used by translators, or to develop the trainee translators' competencies. And well, corpora as a didactic tool also allow us to study language in use in 2 or more languages. Right, so having said this, the aims of our innovative teaching project are these ones that we can read here. First of all, to improve students' command of the foreign language. And in the case of nursing students or physiotherapy students, also the medical vocabulary. Then to increase students' motivation when learning a foreign language. The third aim is to make them aware of the professional tasks of their real life that they will have to face in future. Also to foster the usage of computing tools because they will be working with a couple of programs that might be new for them. And to promote the usage of translation as a tool, mainly among students of translation.
You have 5 more minutes, Goretti.
Okay, yeah. So these are the stages that are followed in the project. First of all, subtitling in the source text. So students have to listen to the recording and then they have to write the subtitles in English. Then they have to write the subtitles in Spanish, and then they have to contrast the equivalent in the corpus that has already been created. And finally, there's a discussion in a focus group. So in the first task, the students work the listening comprehension. And in the second and third activity, so the subtitling and contrasting with the corpus, students focus mainly on vocabulary and grammar. Here, the teacher can try to clarify grammatical doubts, whereas in the first part can just give pronunciation tips. And finally, the discussion is challenging as it requires students to reflect on the nuances of some expressions. So, as I said before, the main aim is to improve the students' command of English. And well, I think that here they work on different tasks and different abilities. Right. Regarding the first part, where students have to subtitle in source language, they don't subtitle the whole episode, but just 10 minutes of a TV program. They have to use a program which is Ages Up. They are not given a lot of technical information about the program, just the basics. I think that it's quite flexible because students can select the material that they want to subtitle as long as it is one of the episodes included in the corpus. And it also fosters students' listening skills, as I said before, and they work with this new program, which might improve students' technology knowledge as well. In the second subtitling that they do, students are asked to add the subtitles in Spanish, and they work on the translating competence, and they work on vocabulary and grammar, as I said before. They have to be particularly careful here with the tone. So patient versus doctor, because you know that in medical English, it's quite frequent to have this duplicity of, for instance, thigh bone and femur, or clavicle and collarbone. So they have to know when they have to use each or the other. Right here, you have a screenshot of what the students do. So they write both subtitles and, well, they use this program. Then when they contrast, they go to the corpus. We provide them with a link. And, well, they can check the translation. For instance, here, well, they can see different contexts for the word ill, or the other way around, a word in Spanish, and they can get the source text. With the corpus, they don't just see the translation, but there are other options, such as generating collocations, frequency lists, examples in context. Well, they can extract terms, for instance. Here, the teacher was working with collocations, and so different modifiers of a word, or if different verbs that go with that word, and so on. That's another example with another word, the word treatment. And also, they can also work with word lists. So, for instance, here, words ending in ing. So, are they nouns? Are they verbs? Or, well, that's a frequency list. And also, quite useful is this word sketch difference to work with collocations as well. What's more frequent to say, watch or see? Well, it depends on the word that follows. Right, so this is what we did, where we implemented the corpus so far. We implemented that in the course of English 3 in primary education, specialized English, both in the degrees of nursing and degree in physiotherapy, and English B5, the degree in translation. All of them were in their 4th year, and they had Spanish as their mother tongue. They had quite a good level of English, and but maybe they were not familiar with some expressions or technicalities or medical language. The number of students can range depending on the module, if it's an optional course or a compulsory course. They were mainly university students, and the aspects studied, as I said before, were very different. It depends on the teacher, so he can select what he wants to work with. And the resources were mainly AgeSub for the subtitling task and Sketch Engine for the searches. Right, and just a couple of slides, and I will finish. But to assess the quality and impact of the intervention, we created a pre and post activity questionnaire where we could check the students' general command of English and their disposition about this project as well, their interest and their expectations. And there was a group discussion about the activity and about other students' contributions after each, when they had to perform one of these tasks. And the aim of these discussions was to reflect on the global activity and also on the results or the alternatives that other classmates could have done. We created a systematized grid in order to collect the data. And well, the analysis of the data was structured in 4 dimensions in order to check the students' improvement on communicative, intercultural, translating, and technological competencies. The results that we've obtained so far, it's the last slide.
Goretti, I'm sorry, we really need to start finishing up, so if you could please conclude as soon as possible.
This is the last slide, as I said
Thank
before.
you very much.
So there were just 2 slides. So the results so far were that we've obtained very positive results because it helped to increase students' motivation, and they also improved their reading and writing, grammar and vocabulary skills. They were conscious about that tone issue that I mentioned before about the duplicity in medical English. Translating students improved their translating competence. They were happy of using new technical, new programs, and all in all, they feel that they improved their communicative and intercultural skills. So that's the end. I'm sorry if I took longer than expected.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We've just got less time for questions now. So we do